Donald Trump decided not too long ago to have his big Tulsa rally that has had disastrous and predicted results. And so here he is being asked about that decision.
Last time I was with you was the day before your Tulsa rally in the Oval. And, you know, you were saying big, huge crowd, it was indoors.
By the way,
these people, they listen to you.
Excuse me, Jonathan.
Yeah.
We had a 19,000 seat stadium. First of all, we had 12,000 people, not 6,000, which you reported and other people reported. But you couldn't even get in. It was like an armed camp.
Why would you have wanted that?
Because they had 120 Black Lives Matter people.
I understand, but why would you have wanted a huge crowd?
Excuse me, wait. And Tulsa, well, because that area was a very good area at the time. It was an area that was pretty much over. After a month later, it started going up. That's a month later.
Okay, so there are two great parts there. I mean, I think we should acknowledge that, one, the cases were going up in advance of it, at least a little bit. But let's say that that's wrong, as he implies. And he says after we had the massive rally that people say would cause a spread of cases, then the cases started spreading, is a really interesting actually self-own there.
That's what I was, yeah.
Yeah,
he acknowledges it. Mm-hmm. He acknowledges it. But even if the fact that you thought, I mean, the way he talks is crazy. It was over. Like, be specific what you're saying. I don't even know what you're saying. That happens many times in this interview where Jonathan's like, what manuals, what books, what people? Mm-hmm. Even if the numbers were low, even if there, you know, it was still a pandemic. Even if it was relatively safe there, as he's sort of alluding to, why would you have a massive rally?
Yeah. And
you have to acknowledge that that did play into the numbers rising. I mean, it's just, that's science. I like how he said, there's another part of the interview. He's like, it's science. I was like, really? Yeah. He knows about science?
Well, but he describes science as, and boom, all of a sudden it's better. That's what he says science
change
is.
In a drop of a hat.
Yeah.
That's science.
That's not science in my experience. But yeah, you're right. So he's bragging about having the big rally, and we're going to get to the ratings in a second, but he is talking to a guy that is, like somebody said during the video, was that John sighing or the interviewer? And I think it was both of us. So he's being told by this interviewer, it was irresponsible for you to do that, to put so many people there. But he can't help himself. He's like, no, I had twice as many people as you're saying is irresponsible. Which would be more irresponsible.
I was even more irresponsible than you're claiming. He reminds me of a teenager that got home drunk from a party and is trying to negotiate and argue with their parents.
Yeah. And he doesn't know what point he's trying to make. It's also a lie. It wasn't 12,000, it was 6,000, but 6,000 is bad enough. That's what we're discussing, the horrible decision that led to, in your words, a spread of cases, and also Herman Cain has died. Again, we don't know for sure that he died as a result of that, but it certainly seems like an interesting coincidence.
It does.
And then beyond that, you mentioned the fact that he loves to hear about how great it was and all that. Well, he also loves to talk about how great it was. So here is more. Again, he is being asked a series of questions about the spread of cases, hospitalizations, deaths, the fact that things are going really poorly and that he made a bad decision with Tulsa. Here is how he decides to spin it.
But we had 12,000 people. It was incorrectly reported. The other thing we had that nobody wants to talk about, so Fox broadcast it. It was the highest rating in the history of Fox television, Saturday night. It was the highest rating.
Mr. President.
My speech, well, wait a minute, you're saying something.
Yeah.
That speech was the highest rated speech in the history of Fox television on Saturday night. And nobody says that.
Why? Yeah. Why aren't they focusing on the ratings at this?
No one is talking about the ratings, John. This is what's important. I don't care that 1,000 people are dying a day. My ratings are good.
Mm-hmm. You know, I don't know if this is a crazy analogy or not. So he's talking about something that's being described before and now in hindsight as a disaster to public health. And he's talking about, but yeah, the ratings. It would be like if like FDR was like, yeah, you know, day that'll live in infamy. We lost a lot of ships, but that footage is real playing well on the news. Nobody cares. That might be the
infamy.
Exactly. Yeah. Ratings that will, that might be the craziest thing. I know we're going to get to another thing that he said that people are like, this should be the takeaway. How could you say like something like this and still be president? But him bragging about ratings for some stupid speech. How could you possibly care about that with people dying? So many people dying.
All he cares about. He doesn't care about people dying. He never has. He has never treated people humanely, except for people that can do something for him.
Yeah.
And then when they can't anymore, I mean, it's not even, people talk about how Trump's not a racist. He is, but he also just is a totally inconsiderate person. That's me being nice. Because even if somebody is white, once they can't do anything more for him, he's done with them.
Yeah.
He's done.
Yeah.
So this guy is just total narcissist. We really have a problem in this country that so many people, and Jonathan refers to that when he's trying to sort of plead with him about how it was such bad advice, bad, planning on his part as a leader to talk to all these people and discourage mask wearing and being scofflaws to all of the regulations in their own cities and states. This guy could care less about anyone. He doesn't care if we all die. Honestly, I think he thinks he's immoral. Apparently he is, because he sure lives a risky life, but
yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, if your worldview places you always at the center, and that's going to appear in other videos that we're going to show, including the John Lewis one, that everything is about you. It's a sociopathic life. You can't imagine a universe continuing without you because you're the point of this whole thing.
You are everything.
Exactly. Talking about the ratings is madness. The only way that could possibly play with his base if his base has been successfully brainwashed to think this isn't a real pandemic, the numbers aren't real, I'm in no danger, and unfortunately that's millions of Americans.
And they have.
Yeah, they have.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.